So at this point, you, Mr. Hession, can ask a question of Mary Verner.
Thank you. Mary, just last week you stated that you do not favor gambling, yet you voted to make gambling easier in the city of Spokane by reducing gambling taxes. How do you reconcile these conflicting positions?
The issue is tax. The issue is income to the city of Spokane. And I recall, Mr. Hession, when you were on the council when this issue came up, and what we were faced with was the county reduced their gambling tax to 5% just outside of our city boundaries. And we were left with businesses moving outside the city boundaries, taking with them their tax revenue, their jobs, their benefits, and their charitable contributions. So for me, it only made sense to keep businesses in the city of Spokane by making sure that our tax rate was reduced to at least 15% compared with the 5% in the county so that we could hold on to those businesses. Now, you've painted me as an anti-business candidate, but I tell you, that's a good exhibition of how I am willing to keep businesses in Spokane.
You have 30 seconds if you want it.
Thank you. I would just disclose to you that, first of all, we were sort of being held hostage by the people who were threatening to move into the county, which I did not take lightly. And secondly, I voted no to reducing those gambling taxes for the very reason that it would encourage gambling inside the city of Spokane.
Mary, do you have a question for Dennis Hession?
I do. Mr. Hession, you advertise in your campaign that you have restored openness at City Hall. During your time as City Council President and then as Mayor, you were given information about an overbilling by the private ambulance company that has an exclusive contract in Spokane, repeated overbilling. You did not take any action to disclose or rectify the overbilling of our citizens or to address why the overbilling took place right in front of our noses. After public disclosure and admissions made largely as a result of my efforts, you were presented with enough evidence to fine the ambulance company millions of dollars, yet you imposed a fine of only $80,000. Why were you so slow to act? And why did you impose such a paltry penalty on a company that overbills Spokane's customers at their most vulnerable circumstances when they need an ambulance?
First of all, let's let the record be clear. The problems with the AMR billing were discovered by the fire department and made known to me. That was followed by a review of all of the records of AMR by AMR, who hired a separate consultant to do that, which resulted in a major overbilling disclosure. And in my responsibility as the mayor, I make decisions about what was the appropriate way, appropriate penalty for them. In making that decision, I took into consideration the fact that, in my view, after reading all of the information, that this was an error that was made in judgment. It was not a deliberate attempt on their part to deceive anybody. It was very credible how they made the mistake, and that's the reason why the fine was the way it was. And it was a consensus fine that from the fire department as well as my administration.
You have 30. I
know about the issue because it was brought to me as a city council person. It was brought to you at the same time. And the issue is very complicated. It goes back quite a bit longer than when it was finally disclosed by the fire department. And I expect a strong mayor of the city of Spokane to react swiftly and firmly and not allow our consumers to be defrauded or punished by a company doing business here in the city of Spokane. I was very disappointed, and I don't think that exhibited the characteristics of a strong mayor.